What's up guys, it's Advanced Gaming. I'm finally back after I took my break, kind of. So I know it's been a long time coming. I finally have my review of the Logitech G923 and my generic shifter from Amazon. I don't know the brand, it didn't really make it clear what it was. I'll have a link for both, obviously, in the video description, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So first, a quick rundown. The steering wheel is Logitech's latest in their mid-range steering wheels. It supports either PlayStation or Xbox, depending on which version you get. It also has support for, of course, second generation force feedback and Logitech True Force. Unfortunately, I have no games that support True Force, so I was unable to test this feature. I might make a follow-up eventually when I get Gran Turismo or something that does support it, but for now, I can't comment on the functionality or value of True Force. Alright, so now that that's out of the way, let's get into the main part of the video. I will be reviewing the steering wheel, pedals, and shifter separately, going into detail about my thoughts and feedback on each and every one of them. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, first up, the steering wheel. The steering wheel feels good. It feels good in your hand, it feels good putting it on your desk, it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. While the plastic base isn't anything to write home about, it does its job, and the wheel itself is overall quality. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart in your hands, it's actually quite comfortable, and admittedly, it could be a bit bigger. I don't think anyone's really going to have a problem with the size of the wheel. On top of that, the force feedback is quite strong. As you can see here, this force feedback is almost as strong as I am, which I know might not be saying much. But it's still impressive considering that it's actually quite dangerous. If you put your hand in the wheel itself as it spins, you very well may break your arm. Besides realistic feedback, the wheel also has multiple buttons on it, which can just help make your game a little bit easier, as you don't need to reach over your wheel to hit your keyboard when you have all the buttons that you could map to your keys right in front of you. I do have one thing to note. The steering wheel can be incredibly loud, as the force feedback motors can sometimes vibrate the desk I have the wheel mounted to, and it makes everything move, and I mean everything. And, well, you know what, instead of me trying to describe it to you, I'll just show you the sound right here. Now onto the pedals themselves. The pedals do not seem to have an easy change spring system, though I'm sure you could probably take them apart and change it. The base is made out of plastic. It's just bog standard plastic. There's nothing special about it, there's nothing fancy about it, it's just plastic. Admittedly, that's all it needs to be. It does its job, though I wouldn't mind seeing a bit more weight into it, as sometimes jamming on the brake without having your other foot on the base will actually lift up, so that is something to note. Also, I wouldn't mind seeing less tension on the brake pedal and more tension on the gas. The gas can be incredibly easy to push, whereas the brake can be actually quite difficult sometimes. And again, without having your other foot on thing, it is very difficult to floor the brake and have the clutch down at the same time. Now onto the shifter. The shifter is quite simple. It's nothing special, it doesn't look fancy, it's made out of metal, mostly, except for the top ball, which is made out of plastic. I think, apart from the plastic top, the shifter looks quality, it feels quality, and it does its job well. I will say that it is quite unrealistic, as putting it into gear with the spring-loaded mechanism it has is nothing compared to actually moving a gear shifter on a car. Though I will say that this is fun to shift. Shifting with this is enjoyable. It's not realistic, but it doesn't have to be. So if you're looking for something that, yeah, it might not be realistic, but it's quite fun, I highly recommend this. The only thing to note with the shifter is that it's very loud, as the metal on metal can be incredibly noisy, and at times can be unbearable if you're trying to be quiet. If you don't have this problem, then it doesn't matter, but the shifter and steering wheel can both be extremely loud at times. Here, take a listen for yourself. So, yeah, it's loud. But it also isn't the biggest deal as long as you have decent speakers that can be louder than that, and you don't mind it. I really don't have a problem with it besides that. So in conclusion, so far everything's sounding pretty good. However, the price really does matter. And you're in luck. The Logitech G923 True Force steering wheel and pedals can be found retailing for about $350 US, but if you're patient and you find a sale, you can get it for as low as $250 USD. The shifter, on the other hand, well, it's a bit harder to find the exact model. I'll have the link in the description, but considering the fact that it's basically a clone of everyone else's, and you could find multiple different models, though I can't vouch for the other models, I would say anywhere from 60 to 70 bucks would be appropriate for this. I spent 70, but if you look for a deal, you could probably find it for 60, maybe even less. And I'd say I'd pay even up to 80 for this. One thing I will say, you might be tempted to just get the steering wheel and use the paddle shifters while you save up a little bit to maybe get a nicer shifter. I don't recommend getting the shifter separately from the steering wheel, at least if you're a manual kid like me. I love driving cars in manual, so driving manually with the clutch and paddle shifters, it's not the same as having a gear shifter, and I'd say the shifter is as big of an improvement to having just a steering wheel as having a steering wheel is to just using keyboard and mouse. So there it is. You can have this setup for as little as $320 and as much as $450, maybe even more if you find really bad deals. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. You can check out the video description for the links to where to get the steering wheel and pedals, as well as the shifter mentioned. You can also find my computer specifications and links to buy the components in my computer as well. As always, I will be patrolling the comments with the notifications on my phone and iPad, so feel free to comment and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Please feel free to comment. I will respond as soon as I can. Without further ado, I'm going to end out the video. Maybe check one of my BeamNG videos if you're looking for something else to watch. Those can be entertaining. Or if you want a review, you can check out my review of the Gigabyte A5K1, a budget RTX 3060 laptop that, quite honestly, did enough for me until I dropped it.